about to drive into Mexico for our first time. See how it goes. Hopefully we come back.
Kyle, how do you feel?
I think it'll be fine. It's a pretty big tourist area. Lots of other Americans, expats. Pretty safe area of Mexico. With that in mind, it's always a chance. But it's always a chance in a national forest in the middle of Alabama too.
We were given this newspaper for Rocky Point, where we're headed. It is in English, so that's very helpful. And it looks like it's a pretty nice tourist town. They had lots of information here on things that you can do. You want to golf, if you want to take a whale watching tour. They've got Gringo Bingo at the local Veterans Club. Whoops. I gotta shut her down. We just stopped at this Centro Cambiario and traded 100 US dollars for 1,800 pesos. So we are driving in Mexico. Dogs everywhere. Even saw a husky, which was crazy. It's a really interesting here. It's not the nicest. There were people in wheelchairs immediately after you crossed, begging for money. They didn't even ask our passports when we crossed into Mexico. They didn't ask us anything. They just looked in the back seat for a few seconds and waved us through. There's stuff for sale. That looks kind of cool. Welcome to Mexico, Kyle. Gas at the Pemex here is $18.79. I'm gonna need Kyle's conversion to figure out what that actually means. We've been driving in Mexico for 5 miles now. It's been congested. Lots of people, lots of dogs. We saw fruit stand at a stop sign in the middle of the street.
Speed bump.
Yep, lots of, they call them topes, speed bumps. Lots of little places to get food, burritos, tamales. Lots of people that just have like a stand selling shirts and various things.
It's much different than driving in Canada. You can definitely tell immediately you're in another country.
We have gotten outside of the town now, and right now we're pretty much just in desert. So something we've noticed, the speed limit is 80 kilometers an hour, and we're going a little over 80 kilometers an hour, like maybe 83, 85. And we have had a lot of cars right behind us, so people must drive fast on these roads. The landscape here is starting to change. It's becoming more open, less bushes, more sandy and ground cover type vegetation. We are about 3 miles from our destination, and we have started to enter some civilization now. Looks like they have an auto zone ahead. It's getting pretty busy. Here's a Sam's Club on our left. This Pemex has gas for $22.98. So when we got to Rocky Point, we kind of took a right, and we're driving on this Paso de la Duna road. Now we're driving a dirt, but this side seems to be where all the resorts are. We've seen lots of ATV tours that you can sign up for and rent. It's really interesting here. We're going to check out the Reef RV Park. Get some information. Hopefully they speak English. We're checking out this RV park. Lots of spaces available. The lady inside spoke English. She gave us a map and some information. All sites here are full hookup. So the sites on the corners are the ones that are 50. The sites in between the corners are 40. These first sites right here that are marked D13, those are 35, and then the ones in the back beyond that are the $26. This person is getting a massage right at their campsite. So I don't mind it here. I'm actually kind of excited. I was really nervous. So far we are liking this park. Here's the map that they gave us if you're interested. It seems pretty quiet and laid back. And there's really not that many people here. If you wanted, you could get a spot with nobody around you if you pick one of the $26 sites in the back. I like this resort in particular because right next to it, it's all protected land. There's nothing right by it, just sand dunes and mountain. So this is kind of ironic. People often say to us, your life is a vacation. It's not. It's far from a vacation. But I actually feel right now like I am on vacation. This place is so cool. We've got a home artist, Kid Rock, playing right now. We're at Wrecked, which is right next to the campground. Here's some of their menu items. US dollar prices, but pretty reasonable. Came with an avocado.
You might want to revisit what your fruits are.
A lima. Our food is here. I got the garlic lemon, I don't know, fish of some kind. Carl got the chimichanga. They look delicious. It's a lot of food for like, I think Carl's was 14 and mine was maybe 13. They even brought out a water bowl for the doggy here. We are now here and going to check out the Mermaid Market, which happens every Saturday at 3 p.m.
Too bad you don't wear shoes.
No?
We're headed back from Rocky Point. And if you look in the distance, you can see a straight line. Zoom in. And that is the infamous wall. And we are going to go drive along Mex 2, which is a highway that goes right alongside it. Here we are driving on Mex 2 on the other side of the wall. as far as the town of Rocky Point, that one really didn't impress me. There's just a lot going on. It's just a town. It's busy. It's congested. There's people everywhere. There's dogs everywhere. There's stuff for sale everywhere in the middle of the road, on the side of the road, in the roundabout. So that didn't really impress me. It was more the vacation feeling at the RV park, at the restaurant that we really enjoyed.
So that's the first time I've ever driven in Mexico. Heard a lot of horror stories, expected a lot of disasters, whatever. It was pretty tame. A lot of chaos. Never been to the Caribbean and gone anywhere on an excursion. People just go every which way at every intersection. Same thing. Our biggest goal is just don't hit anyone. I don't want to file a Mexican insurance claim. We'll cover Mexican insurance some other time. But it was pretty simple. It was a little chaotic in a couple of spots, but nothing worse than going through any major city in the U.S. There's just stuff happening everywhere. You just got to pay attention. And you don't want to hit anyone in Mexico and have to deal with Mexican authorities and Mexican insurance and all that kind of stuff. So just be mindful of what you're doing and you'll probably be fine.
Going back to, as the Garmin calls it, USA. We're going to USA. Okay, always interesting. Coming back from Mexico, going through customs, so different than going through Canada. The first stop, you give the guy your passport, and he looks all inside the vehicle, like shines a flashlight. The people in front of us, he opened their trunk and he was like looking like underneath like the seals, and then he has like a little stick, like a wand. On one end is a stick, and on the other side it has a mirror, and he sticks that under your car. And then he told us asked us if we had anything to declare, and we said no, and then he proceeded to tell us to go on. The next point was there was a man. He asked if anybody was pregnant or had a pacemaker, and so we said no, and so he said okay, please proceed. And so you go through like this x-ray vehicle machine, and then you go to the next guy. The next guy asked us what year our vehicle was, and that was kind of weird. And so he radioed to somebody, and then he asked us what happened to our truck because it has a couple rust spots on it. And so we kind of told him it's from Michigan Salt, and he kind of chuckled and said, okay, you can proceed. It was very interesting. It was so different than going through Canada. The other thing that was interesting is the clearance there was only like 12 foot 3 inches. So it's not for high, tall vehicles. There was no semi-traffic at all. And it was very narrow in there. They had it very tight. There were cones, and they really funnel you in there. So originally our goal was just to drive to Rocky Point and check that out. The last time that we boondocked and why, there was a big bicycle rally in Rocky Point, and we just saw tons of motorcycles going, past the BLM land. And so we thought this time we wanted to go and check that out. And so I had asked on the RV boondocking in Mexico Facebook group, are there any things to do in Rocky Point? And there was somebody was like, check out campgrounds. And it's kind of like, why didn't we think of that? And so we decided, well, okay, they gave us some suggestions, and so we went to go check them out. Well, we ended up stumbling upon the Ernie Reed Park, and that one was just so awesome. It was right at the end of the resort area. It was cleaner, it was quieter, it wasn't busy there, and we just really loved it with the 2 restaurants that were right next door. They had some live music going on, beautiful beach, beautiful water. We saw somebody kayaking, so that is on our list now. We went to check out the other one, I think it was Playa de Oro, and that one was on the other side, which was more in the town, and it was just way too congested and busier over there, and it was just not for us. So I think had we have not found the Reef Park, we probably wouldn't be going there.